Blasting to the end of the year, people got money in their pockets wanting to buy a property. And the big question that people are asking themselves, do I wait, hang around, see what's going to happen in the market, or do I buy now? Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it with a buyer's agent extraordinaire, Luke Moroney. Stay tuned.
Well, good morning.
And good morning.
This is the first time I've actually met Luke in person. I've only ever met you through comments coming through on our Morning Minute shows. So welcome, lovely to put a face to the name. And you did actually brief me in with what particular buyer's agent you are, which is quite interesting. Would you like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, we're typically looking to help investors grow their property portfolios. So looking at those more affordable markets, typically where there are higher cash flows. So for us, a lot of the purchases that we're doing out right now are in Brisbane and in Perth. So they're the favourable markets. But look, there's opportunities to buy in all sorts of markets. There's always a deal to be done. It's just finding the opportunities that relate to your own personal circumstances.
Yeah, I love that. There's always a deal to be done. I love it.
You're famous, Luke. Luke's famous. He does, and this is the first time I've seen you not do a dance. What happened to that?
Well, like people keep telling me to be a bit more professional, but I still wear my party pants. So there's a little bit of that dance action happening as well. So that's always a big one for me. Are you taking yourself too seriously? Yes, there's a professional aspect of what we do, and we're super passionate about property and building people's wealth. We've had especially so much success over the last 2 or 3 years now, and it's seen repeat clients come back to keep buying property, draw out their equity and just build their property portfolios. So, but at the same time, we want to have fun and enjoy this, Mark. I know, you're out there spreading a few jokes, doing a bit of a dance, a bit of a shimmy, but at the same time, you're on point when it comes to, what's happening in the market, all the deals that are going on, how can you help clients, and that's what we're all about.
Absolutely. It's all about the ride, having fun along the way as well.
You got it. Now, Luke, you're getting all of us are getting questioned. We're dealing with buyers in the open marketplace at the moment. It's probably the one massive, biggest question on everyone's lips at the moment. I guess you could even pull this question back to sellers as well, because they're wanting to know whether they should release their property now. And then I guess it goes back to buyers, which is the $1 million question: is is the market going to correct much more because you can buy it for cheaper, or do you just simply get in? Xanthony, what do you think first?
Well, I think if you need to sell, and then sell, but sell and buy in the same kind of market so you're not effectively at a loss. That's where my train of thought would initially go to, having not spoken to a buyer's agent who specifies in investments and having not spoken to Mark about it either. So that's what I would suggest in this particular market. Buy and sell in the same market.
What about for a buyer?
Look, there is a lot of rumours going around amongst buyers at the moment about even further interest rate rises next year, which are very much affecting their decisions to buy. I think if you've got the cash flow behind you, if you can support yourself in your mortgage repayments, then absolutely buy. You can get properties, especially around the beaches at the moment, for a really good price. So if it's within your means, absolutely do it.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, like in hindsight, if you go back 3 months or so, and prices are lower than from what they were 3 months ago. So it's really interesting. Yes, like you said, Mark, the interest rate argument is being spoken about on every single call or Zoom session or meetup that I do have. Do you buy now or buy later? I think a big part of a lot of people right now, they're going into that Christmas period and no one's taken holidays for a long time. So I feel like that's kind of like they're allowing themselves to sit on the sidelines a little bit around, I'll take my Christmas holiday. I know we deal a lot with, people from the subcontinent area. They, really come over to Australia. They're building their wealth. They've bought their own home. They're buying investment properties. But they're going back over to the subcontinent over for the Christmas period and over for a month. So speaking to a lot
What's
of
the subcontinent?
Yeah, like India, Pakistan, and those areas. So a lot of it, they've come out. That first generation of migrants could come out, and they're really working hard. They've bought their own home. They're working in professional services in Australia. They've got university degrees, and then they've built up their wealth, and now they're investing in property. So we deal with a lot of Indian buyers or first generation migrants into Australia, and they're doing super well around investing. So they might have bought the first one and looking maybe buy their second one, and they're just waiting until like maybe the new year. We've got a situation where maybe first time investors are just like, okay, I'll just wait it out. I'll go on holiday and then I'll come back and have a look at it because they still think that interest rates would rise. But it goes back to what you were saying earlier about, it's personal circumstances first and foremost. But, like I say in every morning minutes when I come on to comment it is all about the buy. We want to be getting out there, building our property portfolios, whether it's a home purchase first and then investment, or investment purchase first, then you're buying your dream house down the track. Whichever way you do it is putting money into property markets. And why do we do it? Because Australian property is so strong and is in high demand. We've got a lack of supply. Building is restraint at the moment. Build costs are going out through the roof. Not much building activity. And there's, if you look in Sydney, especially in your market in the Northern Beaches, there's natural constraints, right? There's water everywhere around the Northern Beaches. You've got national parks and various areas that won't be built out. So, it goes back to these areas, whether they be all around the country in capital city markets close to the city, then you've got that aspect of a lack of supply. And on top of that, what we see now is that international immigration. It's going crazy. One example of this, a property in Ultimo.
Thank God.
One of our staff members has got a unit in Ultimo, and during COVID, they had to drop their rents $270 a week, probably from about $700 down to that $430 or so. Now they put that property on the market where a tenant moved out. Now they've had 26 people go through the open home. So that's international immigration.
How much now?
So I imagine they'd be back up to a market rent. I don't know the actual figures on it, but just gives you an idea that they couldn't get a tenant back in 2020. Everyone left. But now the international immigration is coming back, and it's spiking with a lot more applications and open inspection people coming through.
Music to my ears.
Well, that's the rental market at the moment, and I guess it'd be interesting to hear from you guys. And you've got large rental portfolio that you manage there, and how many are actually vacant right now? I suspect very limited numbers.
Correct, especially coming into the warmer months as well. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, like being a beachside suburb, but vacancy has never ever been a concern for us, particularly now, even through COVID. But do you buy or do you wait? Do you buy or do you wait?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Mark.
That's the big one. Do you know what I mean? And it's I think that there's two things that we should also consider when we're having a chat about it. Is it's not, and Tom Panos, trainer, always says this really well. It's not time in. It's time ing. So it's not about getting into the asset. It's about, and when you get into the asset, it's about how long you're holding onto the asset for. So if people, unfortunately, I had this conversation on a Sunday from a gentleman who just bought a big, beautiful home a year ago, and he was like, I screwed myself. And I'm like, no. If you've bought at the peak of the market and you want to sell 10 years later at the peak of the market, you're doubling your money. So I said, at the end of the day, you bought for your family. At the end of the day, when you sell at the peak of the market. You have to time it that way. So I think whether you're going to buy now or whether you're going to wait 3, 6, 18, whatever months, I think don't worry about it. Just worry about holding that puppy for a long time.
I think, there's a couple of different arguments around that in terms of that buyer mark as well. It's like, could you get that same house in 12 months' time? Would it be available? Or is something similar going to be available? Do they want that specific property and that fits into their own home, ideas and thoughts and what they really wanted? And then it goes into, did they have the finance at that time? That's another big one. I know you guys have been speaking about it lately, is your serviceability going to be less now that interest rates have gone up? And could you actually buy that property, or you would have had to come down $500,000 or $1 million on your home purchase at a time right now where the serviceability has reduced for people. So, that's a big one for people to look at. If you get in now, you can go at a higher the value property price point, or you wait a little bit, you get a potential discount, but you can't afford that discounted property anymore. So when I look at it, whether you're a home buyer or investor, is what's the opportunity in the marketplace? I guess a home buyer has more emotional, and they need certain things in their home. So they need a 4-bedroom. They looking for a pool. They're looking for all sorts of things, close proximity to schools and things like that. So that's a different circumstance. But I think if you're able to, you want to see some wealth creation out of that home or out of that investment property, is what's the opportunity in the market? Where I see it right now, we talked about, you've talked about first home buyers and the units in, the DY area and so forth. They're going to probably spike up with this first home buyers grant. So that's an opportunity in the market if you can get in before the rest of the first home buyers that come through. Or if you look at I suspect some of those areas in Sydney right now have got unrenovated or dated properties where, they need a little bit of love and attention that they're not going to, your home buyers at the moment, because they want pretty, simple, easy, so they can move straight in. But if something needs a little bit of renovation, there might be an opportunity for that to get $100,000 off, $150,000 or so.
I think it's essential if you feel if it's essential for you to upgrade your home. And I mean the word essential. I think and it's essential for you to have an investment property. You're trying to minimise tax or something like that. It's just a bit of a no-brainer, and I wouldn't be hanging around or waiting. You just don't know what's around the corner. So to get in, lock in. I was talking to a client yesterday who has a significant amount of stocks in the market. And when we're talking about property versus stocks, I was saying to him the stocks get recalled if the prices drop, but properties don't get loans don't get recalled, or commercial ones do, but not residential. So I think that it's just a great time to get in there if you can lend the money, if you can get in there. My answer, in short, to today's it's not even a debate, is it? It's just a chat.
Not really. Just a chat.
I reckon it's just get in when you can. If it's essential, just get in now.
It's low competition, Mark. Like, obviously we're singing from the same hymn sheet right now, but it's sharing experiences both from the buyer side and the seller side about what's going on. Like, sellers are in the market. If you can get that price now, and you're maybe going in with that off-market campaign that that Lisa does, or you're in a situation that you can get that price straight away, take that price. Take it on, then it gives you a bit of certainty about what you can do next. From an investment point of view, low competition in the marketplace right now. put multiple offers out there on properties and, you know, see what comes up, because $50,000 or $100,000 discount on a $600,000 property now might be a price that you won't even see in 6 months' time, even if the market reduces a little bit. So getting a really good deal now might be more important at a higher serviceability aspect with finance, might be better than getting a cheaper price property that you might not be able to attain in 6 months' time as well. So, you know, people just think about the price factor. They don't think about the overall aspect of, it's actually more of a finance game than a property game. And, you know, that goes back to the share market as well. Like, you know, with shares, I think the biggest factor in property over shares is the amount of leverage that you can get. So margin calls and things like that do happen with shares, but you can leverage higher in the property game than you can in the share game.
Big one. Anthony, you've been very quiet over there. I've never heard you this quiet in my life.
I know.
You should have got a word in, Mark.
It's so fine. Look, I have actually taken a lot away from your guys' chat, so thank you to both of you. And look, if you are thinking about buying, as Mark and Luke have both touched on, there are so many things that you need to consider. Get your finances sorted, shop around, see what's out there. And if it's essential to you, if you've got the means to do it, dive on in. Just jump straight in, have confidence, back yourself, and trust your real estate agents and buyer's agents.
As long as they've got several years of experience, they're in the game and doing it every single day. And I think you probably feel a little bit like Mark does when Lisa comes on the Friday Frenzy.
I think so.
Yes. Hey, and before we go, I got in trouble last night from Lisa.
Oh, I know why. Can you please share with the rest of the world why, Mark?
I did a pre-market release on Lisa's birthday.
So Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa's birthday is on Wednesday, and yesterday Mark posted across his Facebook, Instagram, and the Novak Facebook and Instagram that it was Lisa's birthday yesterday. So she's sitting there at her desk getting inundated with messages, calls, direct messages on social platforms saying happy birthday.
I love that. Well done, Mark.
And I was like, you always do the but I said, it's a pre-wish release for your birthday. People can wish you, pre your birthday for your birthday. Like how, it's like an off-market. So, and I said, how efficient is that? It'll just give you a bit of a quieter birthday as well. And she's like, take it off.
That's classic. I love that. Well done.
Yeah, it's such a guy thing to do. It really is.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Just get in there. Just hold on to the puppy for a long time and just get in. That's it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Luke, and we'll do this again.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I can talk about this for hours.
Yeah, me too. You're a legend. Thank you so much, bud. Thanks, Ed.
Bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.